Do you know how much of the world you control? I'll give you a clue. Nothing. You control absolutely very close to nothing in the entire world. And that's okay. We're going to talk about how that affects your marketing and how you can improve your marketing. Welcome to episode 49 of the Cheeky Sales Coach. You control almost nothing. I'm not saying you're a control freak or that you're particularly interested in the concept of control, but I want to look at the things you can directly and indirectly control, what you can influence, and what you can't. Here are 6 or 7 things you need to know about controlling your marketing and sales. Thing number 1, this is not a negative statement. It's simply the truth. You control almost nothing about your marketing or your sales. In particular, you can't control other people. So you don't control their businesses. You don't control their cash flow. You don't know if it's a good time for them to engage in your business. You don't know if they can afford your business. You don't even know if your marketing efforts are hitting the right people. So that's something you have to constantly be working at. As a result, thing 2, take stock of what you do control and what you don't control. You can control your message. You can control what your ads look like. You can control your outbound communication. You can try to control who sees it. I will tell you, I've been spending a fortune on Google Ads, and time again I get together with my guy Dylan and he says, okay, well, I spend about an hour making sure that we're not showing up on all these children's channels on YouTube, even though they're supposed to have all these tight controls and laws, and when I put out a video I have to check the box that says this is not intended for children, and yet our ads are just splashed all over the place, and we have to make sure we're not wasting money advertising to people who couldn't buy our stuff even if they wanted to. That's a small example of you trying to control how your message is seen, but you really can't control it. Think about, the old days, radio and television. You would broadcast out to everybody in whatever, the northern part of your state, the southern part of your state, and you would potentially have millions of listeners, but realistically the overlap between your listenership and your actual audience was very tiny. Now with the internet we can focus very clearly, like I want these 9 people to see my message, but those 9 people or 90 or 900 may not be on the internet that day. They may not see your tweet. They may not see your LinkedIn post. Even with my own email list, I have a very high open rate, but on any given day, any person on my list might not open that email. And so I have to continually be pushing my message again and again with different ways to reach people. I can't tell you how disheartening it is to promote something for a year and spend thousands of dollars and get out literally millions of contacts, millions of impressions out there over the course of months and months and months, and then have somebody say, oh, I didn't know you were doing that this year. Like, ah! But you can't get angry because you don't control things. Thing number 3, if you can't control who's receiving your message, then you need to evolve like an animal. Think about what happens in the world of animals. Some animal can't get to food, and so over time, evolution takes care of that by changing the animal so that they now can rely on that food. Great example is birds. Birds want to get the juicy, good nectar. Well, if they can't reach it, then gradually over time, the birds who have the longer beaks, the skinnier beaks, can get to the nectar, and so it evolves that certain birds have very weird shaped beaks designed to collect specific kinds of food. What is your environment? What are your clients, your prospects doing that you need to evolve to. Don't ignore this. Figure out how you need to change, because the world is always changing. Even if your prospects try to stay the same, technology forces them to change. The economy forces them to change. Time forces them to change. Lots of change happens all the time. People are entering the market, people are leaving the market, people are getting married and retiring, people are going through personal troubles and through great boons of financial success. Things are always changing and always evolving, and so you have to figure out where your business fits with their business and evolve to be what they need next. Thing number 4 is one of the absolutely unbreakable rules of service delivery. So I wrote this book, The Absolutely Unbreakable Rules of Service Delivery. One of the rules is you can't control people, but you can control your process. Let's evolve that just a bit and say you can't control hardly anything, but you can control your process. That's where the real power is. You should define clear, precise marketing and sales processes, and you should constantly be improving them. Sometimes I think my audience ignores the actual meaning of the word process. We talk about standard operating procedures and processes and procedures, but remember, process is a chain of activities that is intended to have a specific result. A process ends in an outcome. So you have a process for migrating data. When you're done, the data should be migrated. You have a process for collecting leads. And when you're done, you should have leads. You have a process for making sales. And when you're done, you should have money in the bank, right? So think about what you do in terms of processes, and remember, a process has an outcome. And you can't control people, but you can control your process. Now, in terms of evolution, your process needs to continually evolve, continually change, and so you've got to track what you do and make sure you understand your process, you control your process, and you work your process. Which leads to thing number 5, track your progress. You know, it makes absolutely no sense to do 90% of the work and not do the last 10%. So when you do a marketing campaign, document it. Write down, oh, we sent this email to these 500 people, we got this kind of response, we made this offer, we used these colors. It doesn't have to be very elaborate, but have some kind of notes about what you did and what resulted from it. There's no point in doing the same marketing campaign again and again and again if it doesn't lead to getting people into your sales funnel. There's no point in running a sales campaign again and again and again if it doesn't lead to people signing up for your services or buying your products. This doesn't have to be fancy. You can use an Excel spreadsheet. You can use a paper journal. You know, the back to school supplies always have these little $1 journals. Go buy one of those and put the big label on it that says sales and marketing. And, you know, maybe even flip it over. So one side is sales and the other side, if you flip it over that way, is marketing. But track what you do, and that way you can track what works and what doesn't, and you can make the little tweaks. You can run the exact same marketing campaign with a different color, with a different letter, with a different offer, with a different landing page, right? There's an infinite number of things that you can change, but you've got to keep track of it. And that way you can make those changes a little bit at a time and gradually evolve your business and your success. Finally, number 6, I just want to remind you, this game never ends. And I call it a game because, let's be honest, I think it's fun. But the reality is you must continue marketing for as long as you are in business. You must do sales for as long as you are in business. When you stop marketing, you will eventually stop making sales. When you stop making sales, you will eventually have clients wander off, retire, merge, get bought out, go out of business. And so your business will shrink and shrink and shrink. You must do marketing. You must do sales. Even if you don't increase the number of clients, you have to evolve what you sell them and how you sell it. You simply cannot stay in one place and freeze time for the rest of history. Every time I meet somebody who just wants to keep doing the exact same thing, all I can say is you have put a nail in your own coffin. You simply cannot continue to do the same thing forever, no matter how successful you are. Now, even I will tell you, when you find something that really, really, really works, crank it, make it happen, push that as far as you can push it, but be 100% aware this day will end. My perfect example in IT is for about 5 years, we sold something called Small Business Server. And we sold it longer than that, but there was a 5-year period between 2003 and 2008 where that product had reached as good as it was ever going to get. It was a great price. It was easy to sell, full featured. The hardware existed to support it. The business environment existed to support it. And we sold that thing left and right again and again and again and again and again. But when the recession hit 2008 and cloud services were coming on strong, it was over. And the people who continued to push it and push it and push it found that their sales went down, down, down. And they became part of the recession. They became victims of the recession instead of moving to something new, moving to the cloud, moving to a new opportunity. So when something is out of your control, acknowledge if it's going strong, try to figure out how you're going to make as much money as possible. But also acknowledge this day will end. No matter how good things are going, no matter what you're selling, there will be a day when that will no longer be the case. And you have to continue to evolve in order to make sure that your business survives. So be in the game for the long run. And here's the best part about that advice. That means you can relax. You can say, hey, I'm going to do this marketing plan. We're going to see how well it works. We're going to fine tune it. We're going to improve it. We're going to make it better and better. We're going to do this sales plan. We're going to see how it works. We're going to fine tune it. You don't have to be stressed out about this. You just have to acknowledge you are never going to control most things in your environment, but you do control some things. And you control whether or not you give up or continue to evolve. Obviously, I want you to continue and I want you to be as successful as possible. For the Cheeky Sales Coach, this is Karl Palachuk, wishing you the best of luck in everything you do. Call to action. Like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you won't miss a thing.